This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
A very warm welcome. You're watching News 9. I'm Karthik Malhotra. US President Donald Trump continues to deliver the State of the Union address. We will soon cut back to that. But the big news emerging so far is that tariffs will continue to attract more investments into the US, and the US collected tariffs are going to offset the income tax, the tax burden on American citizens. That is the big news coming from Trump's address. He's also saying countries which have already signed the trade deal with US want to stick to the deal. That's a big story we continue to track right here on News 9. Also on the show, Noel Tata lists out new KRAs for Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekaran before the decision to renew his chairmanship. And later on the show, of course, we'll also bring you the latest on the Paramount Netflix Warner Brothers Discovery deal. And it seems that Paramount is not leaving any stone unturned to sweeten the takeover bid deal for Warner Brothers Discovery. But first up, let's cut back to the State of the Union address being delivered by US President Donald Trump.
And we're working very hard to end the ninth war, the killing and slaughter between Russia and Ukraine, where 25,000 soldiers are dying each and every month. Think of that, 25,000 soldiers are dying a month. A war which would have never happened if I were president, would have never happened. As president, I will make peace wherever I can, but I will never hesitate to confront threats to America wherever we must. That's why in a breakthrough operation last June, the United States military obliterated Iran's nuclear weapons program with an attack on Iranian soil known as Operation Midnight Hammer. For decades, it had been the policy of the United States never to allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Many decades. Since they seized control of that proud nation 47 years ago, the regime and its murderous proxies have spread nothing but terrorism and death and hate. They've killed and maimed thousands of American service members and hundreds of thousands and even millions of people with what's called roadside bombs. They were the kings of the roadside bomb. And we took out Soleimani. I did that during my first term. Had a huge impact. He was the father of the roadside bomb. And just over the last couple of months with the protests, they've killed at least, it looks like, 32,000 protesters. 32,000 protesters in their own country. They shot them and hung them. We stopped them from hanging a lot of them with the threat of serious violence. But this is some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue. They're starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again, and are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. And no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. We have the most powerful military on earth. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called peace through strength, and it's been very, very effective. So thanks to Republicans in Congress, we're investing that record number of dollars, have no choice, in the United States Armed Forces. Also creating a lot of jobs, but we're not even doing it for that reason. Because as I said, we have more jobs, more people working today than ever before in the history of our country. And NATO countries are friends and allies. They are. They're our friends and they're our allies. Have just agreed at my very strong request to pay 5% of GDP for military defense rather than the 2%, which they weren't paying. We were paying for almost all of NATO. Now they're paying 5 as opposed to not paying 4. And getting that 5% was something which everyone said would never be done, could not happen. We got it really easily with one meeting. And big difference between 2% that's not paid. We were paying the freight of many of them. Very few were paid up. Now 5%, then they're paid. And everything we send over to Ukraine is sent through NATO, and they pay us in full. They pay us totally in full. Every branch of for recruitment. This is so exciting. And every service member recently. And every service member recently received a warrior dividend of $1,776. You know, they put it on my desk. We got the money from tariffs and other things, a lot of money we have. We have much more money than people understand. Have to rebuild that program a little bit, but it won't take long. But we got the money, and it was $1,775, and they wanted my approval. And I said, what's the number? $1,775. I said, wait a minute, for $1 more we can have $1,776. It's going to... I said, we're going to figure that. I never asked anybody if we could afford it. $1 more, I said $1,776. And I said, that's good. And I'll tell you what, our military, that was 4 months ago, our military, I never see a person in the military that doesn't thank me for it, so we're honored to do it. They deserve it. And we call it 1776. It was great. And we love our military. We love our law enforcement. We love our firemen. You know, the firemen don't get mentioned enough. We love our firemen. We're also... We're also restoring American security and dominance in the Western Hemisphere, acting to secure our national interests and defend our country from violence, drugs, terrorism, and foreign interference. For years, large swaths of territory in our region, including large parts of Mexico, really large parts of Mexico, have been controlled by murderous drug cartels. That's why I designated these cartels as foreign terrorist organizations, and I declared illicit fentanyl as a weapon of mass destruction. And with our new military campaign, we have stopped record amounts of drugs coming into our country and virtually stopped it completely coming in by water or sea. You probably noticed that. We very seriously damaged their fishing industry also. Nobody wants to go fishing anymore. We've also taken down one of the most sinister cartel kingpins of all. You saw that yesterday. In January, elite American warriors carried out one of the most complex, spectacular feats of military competence and power in world history. No one's seen anything like it. Foreign leaders, I won't tell you who, called me and they said, very impressive, very good. They couldn't believe, they all watched, they saw what happened. This is a different fighting force than we had years ago when we fought to tie. You know, it's a great fighting force. I'm so proud of it. Look at Space Force. Space Force is my baby, because we did that. My baby is becoming so important. And America's armed forces overwhelmed all defenses and utterly defeated an enemy, good fighters, to end the reign of outlaw dictator Nicolas Maduro and bring him to face American justice. And this was an absolutely colossal victory for the security of the United States, and it also opens up a bright new beginning for the people of Venezuela. We're working closely with the new president of Venezuela, Delcy Rodriguez, to unleash extraordinary economic gains for both of our countries and to bring new hope to those who have suffered so terribly. They really did suffer. With us tonight is Alejandro Gonzalez. She grew up in a tight-knit Venezuelan family and was especially close to her beloved uncle Enrique. But after Enrique ran for office and opposed Maduro, he was kidnapped by Maduro's security forces and thrown into the regime's really infamous prison in Caracas. Alejandro feared she would never see her uncle again. She feared for her own life also. But since the raid, we have worked with the new leadership, and they have ordered the closure of that vile prison and released hundreds of political prisoners already, with more to come. Alejandro, I'm pleased to inform you that not only has your uncle been released, but he is here tonight. We brought him over to celebrate his freedom with you in person. Enrique, please come down. Thank you, Enrique. Have a good time. Nice to have you back, Enrique. There were many heroes on that January raid to capture Maduro. Really great heroes. It was very dangerous. They knew we were coming. They were all set. But the deeds of one warrior that night will live forever in the eternal chronicles of military valor. Chief Warrant Officer 5, Eric Slover, planned the mission and was the flight lead in the cockpit of the first helicopter, a big, beautiful, powerful helicopter. It was a massive Chinook carrying, as you can imagine, many, many American warfighters. Wearing the dog tags, his wife Amy had blessed with holy water before he left. She knew it was going to be a rough one. Eric steered the Chinook under the cover of night and descended swiftly upon Maduro's heavily protected military fortress. This was a major military installation. protected by thousands of soldiers and guarded by Russian and Chinese military technology. How did that work out? Not too good. While preparing to land, enemy machine guns fired from every angle, and Eric was hit very badly in the leg and hip, one bullet after another. He absorbed 4 agonizing shots, shredding his leg into numerous pieces. And yet, despite the fact that the use of his legs was vital to successful helicopter flight, legs are the most important part of flying a helicopter, to deliver the many commandos who would capture and detain Maduro was the only thing Eric was thinking about. Then, even as he was gushing blood, which was flowing back down the aisle, helicopter lands at a steep angle. The machine gun stood right in front of him. They were right in front of him, 2 machine gunners who escaped the wrath of the previous planes. Eric maneuvered his helicopter with all of those lives and souls to face the enemy and let his gunners eliminate the threat. Turned the helicopter around so the gunners could take care of business, saving the lives of his fellow warriors from what could have been a catastrophic crash deep in enemy territory. Only after safely landing the helicopter with all the warriors aboard in the exact right spot, which was vital to the mission, we probably would have had to maybe cancel the mission if that didn't happen. Eric told his co-pilot, also wounded but not as gravely, to take over. I'm about ready to pass out. The success of the entire mission and the lives of his fellow warriors hinge on Eric's ability to take the searing pain. It was unbelievable what's happened to his legs of the bullets and keep on flying and landing, and people knew what was happening. Everybody in the back of the helicopter knew because they saw the blood pouring down the aisle. Chief Warrant Officer Slover is still recovering from his serious wounds, but I'm thrilled to say that he is here tonight with his wife, Amy, Eric, and Amy, come on in. So we have a surprise for Eric and Amy. In recognition of Eric's actions above and beyond the call of duty, I would now like to ask General Jonathan Braga to present Chief Warrant Officer Slover with our nation's highest military award, the Congressional Medal of Honor. Well, thank you very much, Eric and Amy. Great to get to know you. I met with them and with a lot of their fellow warriors at Fort Bragg recently. You notice the name Fort Bragg, we have it back, we brought it back. We won the First World War with it, the Second World War with it, and then they decided to change the name. So we changed it back. Everybody wanted to change back too. And 10 of Eric's fellow warriors from that incredible night of victory will also be receiving medals at a private ceremony that will soon be held at the White House. And Eric will be there. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. That's a big one. Tonight we've celebrated many truly extraordinary American patriots, but there is one last living legend to honor before we go. He is one more heroic American aviator, Navy fighter pilot. Royce Williams served in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, flying more than 220 missions. In the skies over Korea in 1952, Royce was in the dogfight of a lifetime, legendary dogfight. Flying through blizzard conditions, his squadron was ambushed by 7 Soviet fighter planes. It was his first aerial combat of the war, and despite being massively outnumbered and outgunned, Royce led the takedown of 4 enemy jets and almost destroyed the others, vanquishing his adversaries while taking 263 bullets to his own plane and being seriously hurt. His story was secret for over 50 years. He didn't even want to tell his wife, but the legend grew and grew. But tonight, at 100 years old, this brave Navy captain is finally getting the recognition he deserves. He was a legend long before this evening. Royce, please stand up, and I will ask the First Lady of the United States to present Captain Royce Williams with his Congressional Medal of Honor. Thank you, Royce, and thank you, Eric. I've always wanted the Congressional Medal of Honor, but I was informed I'm not allowed to give it to myself, and I wouldn't know why I'd be taking it, but if they ever open up that law, I will be there with you someday. But you know, that's our highest honor, Congressional Medal of Honor, and that's a big thing, and it's an honor to be in the same room with you. Thank you both very much, Eric. Thank you. Thank you. 250 years is a long time in the life of a nation, but in another sense, it's really a mere moment in the eye of history. Two of the gentlemen we met in the gallery this evening took their first breaths 1 century ago, 100 years before that, on July 4th, 1826, the author of the Declaration of Independence, brilliant, Thomas Jefferson, drew his last breath. Just a single long human lifespan separates the giants who declared and won our independence from the heroes who stand among us tonight. Everything our nation has done, everything we have achieved, has been the work of those few great lifetimes. In those brief chapters, Americans built this nation from 13 humble colonies into the pinnacle of human civilization and human freedom, the strongest, wealthiest, most powerful, most successful nation in all of history. Americans ventured out across the daunting and dangerous continent. We carved paths through an unforgiving wilderness, settled a boundless frontier, and tamed the beautiful but very, very dangerous Wild West. From empty marshes and wide open plains, we raised up the world's greatest cities. Together we mastered the world's mightiest industries and shattered history's monstrous tyrannies. And we liberated millions from the chains of fascism, communism, oppression, and terror. Americans lifted humanity into the skies on the wings of aluminum and steel. And then we launched mankind into the stars on rockets powered by sheer American will and unyielding American pride. We wired the globe with our ingenuity. We captivated the planet with American culture. And now we are pioneering the next great American breakthroughs that will change the entire world. All of this and so much more is the enduring legacy, unmatched glory of the hardworking patriots who built and defended this country and who still carry the hopes and freedoms on all of humanity's backs. For years they were forgotten, betrayed, and cast aside, but that great betrayal is over and they will never be forgotten again, because when the world needs courage, daring, vision, and inspiration, it is still turning to America. And when God needs a nation to work his miracles, he knows exactly who to ask. There is no challenge Americans cannot overcome, no frontier too vast for us to conquer, no dream too bold for us to chase, no horizon too distant for us to claim. For our destiny is written by the hand of providence, and these first 250 years were just the beginning. From the rugged border towns of Texas to the heartland villages of Michigan, from the sun-kissed shores of Florida to the endless fields of the Dakotas, and from the historic streets of Philadelphia to right here in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C., the golden age of America is upon us. The revolution that began in 1776 has not ended. It still continues because the flame of liberty and independence still burns in the heart of every American patriot. And our future will be bigger, better, brighter, bolder, and more glorious than ever before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
President, that was a home run.
Mr. President. Thank you. Thanks. Okay, you too. All right. You're the best. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Very well done, sir.
We'll see you Friday, Mr. President.
Great job.
Oh, good. See you. Thank you.
Well done. God bless you. Great job. Mr. President. Great job.
Thank you.
Excellent speech, Mr. President. I mean,
Absolutely. I'm so
Thank you. Mr. President.
The best
Mr.
ever.
President.
Thank you.
The best ever.
Mr. President. Oh, that's it smells. Thank you.
Where you going, man?
One of the best. I'm so proud of yourself. Thank you for honoring those veterans.
रश्मि, ये मैडम बड़े शहर से छोटे शहर बसने जा रही है, बताओ। छोटे छोटे शहरों में ही तो है बड़े बड़े अखाड़े, नए नए दावपेच सीखेगी और फ्यूचर में मेडल जीतेगी। पर बेटा, इनका फ्यूचर?
बड़े पापा, SBI लाइफ से इनका फ्यूचर सिक्योर है।
अभी तो इसकी जीत का इरादा पक्का है। करो पूरे अपने इरादे, अपनों से किए सभी वादे। SBI लाइफ अपने लिए, अपनों के लिए।
बिरला ओपस पेंट्स।
पढ़ता है, खेलता है, झूलता उछलता है, दौड़ता कभी कभी दौड़ कराता है, आगे आगे बढ़ता है इंडिया, अमूल दूध पीता है इंडिया।
हाय, हेलो, नमस्ते। कुजुजांगपो। इस वक्त मैं हूँ गांगते मोनेस्ट्री में। इन खूबसूरत वादियों को देखकर मुझे हमारी बॉलीवुड की एक फिल्म याद आ रही है। तब कुछ लोगों ने विराट और अनुष्का को पहचाना।
Welcome back. US President Donald Trump has just ended delivering his first State of the Union address of his second term in Congress. Now, Trump began his speech with a message he has repeated often while touring the country, saying, and I quote him, "Our nation is back, bigger, better, richer, and stronger than ever before." Now, Trump used the occasion to frame his first year back in office as a major national turnaround. Now, speaking at the U.S. Capitol, President Donald Trump hailed what he called the golden age of America, highlighting recent developments in economy and foreign policy. The president went on to slam the Supreme Court ruling on his trademark global tariff policies. He also hailed falling U.S. inflation and other economic gains, even as Republicans worry about holding their narrow House majority and avoiding further political turmoil ahead of the crucial midterm polls later this year. First up, let's listen once again to what U.S. President Donald Trump said about tariffs and how tariffs can help offset income tax paid by U.S. citizens. Listen in.
One of the primary reasons for our country's stunning economic turnaround, the biggest in history, where the Dow Jones broke 50,000 4 years ahead of schedule, and the S&P hit 7,000, where it wasn't supposed to do it for many years, were tariffs. I used these tariffs, took in hundreds of billions of dollars to make great deals for our country, both economically and on a national security basis. Everything was working well. Countries that were ripping us off for decades are now paying us hundreds of billions of dollars. They were ripping us so badly, you all know that. Everybody knows it. Even the Democrats know it. They just don't want to say it. And yet these countries are now happy, and so are we. We made deals. The deals are all done. And they're happy. They're not making money like they used to, but we're making a lot of money. There was no inflation, tremendous growth. And the big story was how Donald Trump called the economy correctly, and 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics didn't. They got it totally wrong. They got it really wrong. And then just 4 days ago, an unfortunate ruling from the United States Supreme Court. It just came down. It came down. Very unfortunate ruling. But the good news is that almost all countries and corporations want to keep the deal that they already made, right, Scott? Knowing that the legal power that I, as president, have to make a new deal could be far worse for them, and therefore they will continue to work along the same successful path that we had negotiated before the Supreme Court's unfortunate involvement. So despite the disappointing ruling, these powerful, country-saving, it's saving our country, the kind of money we're taking in, peace-protecting. Many of the wars I settled was because of the threat of tariffs. I wouldn't have been able to settle them without. Will remain in place under fully approved and tested alternative legal statutes. And they have been tested for a long time. They're a little more complex, but they're actually probably better, leading to a solution that will be even stronger than before. Congressional action will not be necessary. It's already time-tested and approved. And as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax, taking a great financial burden off the people that I love.
Donald Trump there saying that his tariffs will offset the burden on American citizens and offset their income tax. Meanwhile, in a big revelation, the U.S. president has also gone on to say that he, in fact, was responsible for saving the life of the Prime Minister of Pakistan, referring back to Operation Sindoor. U.S. President Donald Trump also reiterated that he ended 8 wars in his first year, including India and Pakistan that were on the brink. But the big statement really coming that the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died had it not been for the U.S. president. Listen in.
We're proudly restoring safety for Americans at home, and we are also restoring security for Americans abroad. Our country has never been stronger. In my first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? Sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India. Would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there.
And the U.S. president also claimed that while the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities, dubbed as Operation Midnight Hammer last year, what he calls obliterated the country's nuclear weapons program, Tehran is still seeking to develop missiles that can strike the United States, long-range weapons technology that only a limited number of countries possess. Speaking again on the talks between U.S. and Iran, the U.S. president said that he's yet to hear the golden words from Tehran that they will not build a nuclear weapon. Listen in.
Some terrible people. They've already developed missiles that can threaten Europe and our bases overseas, and they're working to build missiles that will soon reach the United States of America. After Midnight Hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue. They're starting it all over. We wiped it out, and they want to start all over again. And are at this moment again pursuing their sinister ambitions. We are in negotiations with them. They want to make a deal, but we haven't heard those secret words. We will never have a nuclear weapon. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon. Can't let that happen. And no nation should ever doubt America's resolve. We have the most powerful military on earth. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We're going to continue to do so. Also, we just approved a $1 trillion budget. We have no choice. We have to be strong because hopefully we will seldom have to use this great power that we built together. It's really called peace through strength, and it's been very, very effective.
And from the crisis in Iran to the chaos in Venezuela, US President Donald Trump also told lawmakers that the US has received more than 80 million barrels of oil from what he calls a new friend and partner, Venezuela, saying oil supplies and oil prices are likely to be stable with the infusion of fresh Venezuelan oil in global supply chain. Listen in.
As thousands of new businesses are forming in factories, plants, and laboratories are being built, we have added 70,000 new construction jobs in just a very short period of time. It's getting bigger and bigger and stronger. Nobody can believe what they're watching. American oil production is up by more than 600,000 barrels a day, and we just received from our new friend and partner, Venezuela, more than 80 million barrels of oil.
And moving on now to other stories, but these also continue to be from the United States, no less. Even though the US president slammed the Supreme Court's ruling that struck down his global tariffs, Washington has for now rolled out a new across-the-board import tariff, and that's a 10% tariff on goods not covered by exemptions, which took effect yesterday, that's Tuesday, according to US Customs and Border Protection. Now, the rate matches President Donald Trump's initial announcement on Friday, but not the 15% he later signaled. More details in this next report.
The US imposed a new tariff from Tuesday of 10% on all goods not covered by exemptions. That was according to the US Customs and Border Protection. Last week, the US Supreme Court threw out President Donald Trump's tariffs, which it deemed were illegally justified on grounds of an emergency. In reaction, Trump initially announced a new temporary global tariff of 10%, but by Saturday he said he would increase it to 15%. The move back to 10% added to confusion surrounding US trade policy. The Financial Times quoted a White House official as saying the increase of up to 15% would come later. Reuters could not immediately confirm this. One bank said in a note that Trump's State of the Union address on Tuesday evening may give a better sense of next steps. The new tariffs took effect at midnight, while collection of the tariffs annulled by the Supreme Court was halted. They had ranged from 10 to as much as 50%. It remains unclear whether and how companies will be refunded for those tariff payments. On Monday, Trump warned countries against backing away from any previously negotiated trade deals with the US, and warning he would hit them with much higher duties under different laws.
And what do these 10% tariffs mean for India, and what really happens to the interim trade deal framework that India and the US had agreed on? Well, India's trade talks with the United States remain on pause, at least for now. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal has said India will resume trade negotiations with Washington as soon as there is greater clarity on the evolving tariff situation in the US. Now, the comments come days after India and the US decided to reschedule a key meeting between their chief negotiators, originally planned in Washington, to finalize the text of an interim trade pact. Now, the Indian delegation had been set to begin a 3-day round of talks on February 23rd, but uncertainty around US tariff policy has prompted both sides to hold off for the moment. Now, Goyal also said the government is consulting industry stakeholders and remains open to recalibrating the framework in line with changing economic realities. However, Goyal indicated that New Delhi is considering ways to attract better technology and investment flows, even as it safeguards domestic interests. Any change, he said, is likely to be gradual and calibrated. Piyush Goyal also emphasized that investments from China are not banned but subject to approval, adding that the government's immediate focus is to streamline the process and make it easier for companies to collaborate, expand value chains and deepen technology partnerships. Meanwhile, India and Israel have officially kicked off the first round of negotiations for a proposed free trade agreement, marking a fresh push to strengthen commercial ties and boost investments between the two countries. Now, according to the Commerce Ministry, the talks began in New Delhi on February 23rd and will continue until February 26th. The negotiations follow the signing of the terms of reference in November last year, which formally set the framework for the pact. A potential free trade agreement is expected to reduce or eliminate tariffs on a wide range of goods while easing norms for services, trade and cross-border investments. Officials say the discussions will focus on market access, customs simplification, innovation cooperation and technology transfer. Technical teams from both sides are holding sessions on areas including trade in goods and services, rules of origin, intellectual property rights and sanitary and physiotherapy measures. During the opening session, Commerce Secretary Rajesh Agarwal highlighted opportunities in sectors such as artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, high-tech manufacturing, agriculture and advanced services. The renewed negotiations come at a crucial time, coinciding with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Israel. Earlier, free trade agreement talks had stalled after 8 rounds, with the last meeting held back in 2021. Bilateral trade between India and Israel currently stands at about $3.62 billion, though recent data shows a sharp dip in both exports and imports. Now, while diamonds, petroleum products and chemicals dominate trade, newer areas like electronic machinery, communication systems and medical equipment are gaining traction. Officials believe the proposed FTA could provide greater market access, attract capital flows and offer more predictability to economic engagement between the two nations. India and the Gulf Cooperation Council, or GCC, have taken a major step towards closer economic ties, signing a joint statement to advance negotiations on a proposed free trade agreement. The document was signed by Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal and GCC Secretary General Jassim Mohammed Al Budaiwi in the presence of senior delegations from both sides. The GCC, comprising Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Kuwait, Oman and Bahrain, is one of India's key strategic trading blocs. Goyal said the partnership, built on deep historical and cultural ties, is expected to gain fresh push through a comprehensive and mutually beneficial trade pact. According to Goyal, the launch of negotiations come at a crucial time amid global economic uncertainty, with both sides aiming to strengthen cooperation across goods trade, services, customs procedures, digital trade, advanced technologies and investment flows. In a post on X, Goyal noted that the joint statement builds on the terms of reference signed earlier this month, formally kick-starting talks for a broad-based India-GCC free trade agreement designed to harness mutual synergies and expand value chains.
Only today we have signed the joint statement launching the free trade agreement negotiations between India and the 6-nation bloc of the Gulf Cooperation Council, the GCC nations in the Middle East. And an hour after that, in the same room, I was talking to the whole negotiating team which has come down to India from Israel to finalize a free trade agreement. After I finish your engagement and a business standard engagement, I have a video conference with the Chilean counterpart, with whom we are finalizing a new age free trade agreement where we will get greater access to critical minerals.
And on to some corporate action now. The process to reappoint Tata Sons chairman N. Chandrasekaran for a third term has been put on hold after concerns were raised during a key board meeting. According to reports, Tata Trust Chairman Noel Tata questioned the performance of some newer group businesses and the pace of capital deployment, preventing the proposal from moving forward. Now, what began as a discussion on initiating Chandrasekaran's renewal reportedly expanded into a broader review of governance, performance and capital allocation, with the matter ultimately deferred rather than put to a vote. Now, as per a Times of India report, at the meeting yesterday, Noel Tata listed out certain criteria on which Chandra must deliver, and these include turning around or reducing losses in aviation, namely Air India and Tata's digital services. Moreover, ensuring heavy capital expenditure in high-risk semiconductors and batteries units does not drain Tata Sons' cash, as it can no longer raise debt after surrendering its status as a core investment company based on RBI norms. Next up on the criteria list, maintaining the company's current unlisted status, given the fact that an IPO would loosen Tata Trust's hold over Tata Sons. Also on the agenda in the meeting was speeding up talks with Shapoorji Pallonji Group to provide them an exit from Tata Sons. Remember, Tata Digital, set up 5 years ago and which bought Big Basket and 1mg, made the second highest loss of as much as 4,610 crore rupees in the group, according to Tata Sons FY25 report. The reports also say Noel Tata had also reached out to several trustees ahead of the meeting to explore whether they would revisit an earlier unanimous resolution backing Chandrasekaran's continuation. However, some trustees were unwilling to reconvene before the Tata Sons board discussion. Now, despite the concerns, Trust Nominee Director Venu Srinivasan and Independent Director Anita George are understood to have supported moving ahead with the reappointment of N. Chandra, arguing that losses in newer ventures reflect long-term investment cycles rather than immediate risks. As of now, there is no consensus on N. Chandra's reappointment. Well, the European Union says Washington wants to stick to the last year trade deal. European Trade Commissioner Maros Sefcovic said the Trump administration has assured Brussels it intends to respect the US-EU agreement. His remarks come despite the new 10% import surcharge. Now, Sefcovic says he has been in close contact with US Trade Representative Jameson Greer and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick following the Supreme Court ruling on tariffs. Listen in.
Since the ruling, I have been in constant touch with my counterparts, and they both reassured me they stand by the deal with the European Union.
The floor to the political groups and Jürgen Borber. For you, it's Karin Karlsruhe.
As them, we must also remain committed to our deal. I understand your decision to delay this morning's votes on the relevant regulations, but it is imperative we keep the process moving forward in implementing our commitments under joint statement. A vote in plenary in March must remain our target, under the condition, of course, that we get more clarity from the United States.
And there's a big, beautiful battle. Yeah, not the big, beautiful bill, but a big, beautiful battle, a bidding battle in Hollywood, which is really heating up now. Temperatures are rising in the corporate boardrooms as Paramount Skydance has reportedly submitted a higher offer to buy Warner Brothers Discovery. The move aims to derail the HBO Max owner's existing deal with OTT giant Netflix. The proposal raises the stakes in an already high-stakes media consolidation fight. We leave you with that story.
Paramount has submitted a higher offer for Warner Brothers Discovery in an attempt to derail a deal with Netflix. That's according to a source familiar with the matter. The bidding war for one of Hollywood's most coveted assets underscores a desire for dominance in the streaming-led market, with Warner Brothers being home to HBO Max and franchises including Harry Potter and Game of Thrones. The source said Paramount's new bid, which improves its initial offer of $104.8 billion, seeks to address Warner Brothers' concerns about the certainty of its financing. Netflix, which offered to buy it for $27.75 per share, or $82.7 billion, is allowed to match the latest bid from Paramount. A Variety report said that the iconic studio was likely to take the Paramount offer under review, while still recommending the Netflix pact to its shareholders. Netflix has ample cash and could bump up its offer, while Paramount's rival bid is backed by Oracle billionaire Larry Ellison. Warner Brothers shareholders were set to decide the fate of Netflix offer on March 20th. A green light from investors would move the deal forward, but it'd still face intense scrutiny from US and European competition authorities. These bodies must assess whether combining Netflix's global streaming power with Warner Brothers' century-old studio assets would reduce competition or limit consumer choice.
When drinking water turns deadly, it demands answers.
What is really going on there?
News 9 brings you
Imagine water that you drink.
contaminated drinking water in Indore, revealing a disturbing link to at least 15 reported deaths.
Typhoid outbreak in tribal areas. 104 patients.
After 15 people were killed.
Foul, frothy water from taps.
You would assume it's safe. It turned deadly.
How is that happening?
Different cities. One national crisis. Bharat. Quest for clean water. News 9. In your interest.
With the lights dim, legends of cuisine and mixology rise. This is where hospitality meets honor. From iconic hotel bars to unforgettable dining experiences. From chefs who redefine taste to leaders who shape the future of hospitality. Celebrating excellence behind the bar and brilliance beyond the kitchen. Classic, contemporary, chic. Where heritage meets innovation. Recognizing the names that set the benchmark and the spaces that define food. Hotels, restaurants, lounges, bars. This is not just an award night. This is a salute to the Knights of Nightlife and Hospitality. Lounge Nights Awards, honoring the best, elevating the night. Radico presents Lounge Nights Awards 2026, co-powered by Morpheus. Style partner, Mia by Tanishq. An initiative by News 9.
Delhi is losing the fight against pollution.
This is not a story of just children. This is the story of every elderly person in the National Capital Region.
Delhi's hazardous air quality.
Smog capital of the world.
Delhi pollution has left us sick and exposed, also frankly embarrassed.
Hazardous air quality are disrupting daily life.
Growing issue of a toxic air looming large over Delhi.
Delhi's air quality index has been hovering between 300 and 400 for the past week. The culprit was the same PM 2.5, the main pollutant which is emitted from heavy industries, power plants, vehicles, crop burning and coal-based heating.
The overall air quality of the city continues to remain in the very poor category.
We look at how Delhi is once again struggling with danger.
It's not just about today, it's about the future.
This is India's #1 news network, and you're watching News 9. English news as it should be.
Hello and welcome to News 9. I'm Varghese Abraham. First up, let's take a look at the top stories of the hour. Prime Minister Modi plans for 2 days Israel visit. Israel's parliament is illuminated in Indian tricolour ahead of the Prime Minister's visit. Addressing the 2026 State of the Union address, Donald Trump reiterates he stops the India-Pak war. US President claims Pakistan Prime Minister would have died during India-Pak war without his intervention. Addressing 2026 State of the Union, Donald Trump announces the Delilah law barring illegal immigrants from getting commercial driver's license. A 65-year-old tourist from Bhopal dies in a high-speed crash in Goa. A speeding SUV allegedly rams into the rented I-20 from behind at Happy Bar Junction in Assagoa. 25 killed as severe floods hit southeast Brazil, forcing hundreds to evacuate. Meteorologists warned of more rainfall in the region in coming days. The big story that we are tracking at the moment, US President Donald Trump has doubled down on his explosive claim that he single-handedly stopped 8 wars, including the India-Pakistan conflict last year. Now, during the first year of his second term in the White House, Trump claimed that Pakistan's Prime Minister would have died in India's Operation Sindoor if it wasn't for US intervention for a truce. Now, in a dramatic assertion, Trump said that Pakistan's Prime Minister and army would have faced massive losses, including potential loss of life, if not for US intervention enforcing a truce. Trump has repeatedly taken credit for this as well.
We're proudly restoring safety for Americans at home, and we are also restoring security for Americans abroad. Our country has never been stronger. In my first 10 months, I ended 8 wars, including Cambodia. Isn't it funny? Sick people. Cambodia and Thailand, Pakistan and India. Would have been a nuclear war. 35 million people said the Prime Minister of Pakistan would have died if it were not for my involvement. Kosovo and Serbia, Israel and Iran, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, the Congo and Rwanda, and of course the war in Gaza, which proceeds at a very low level. It's just about there.
Trump has, in fact, repeatedly taken credit for halting the India-Pakistan conflict more than 80 times since May 10, 2025, claiming a full and immediate ceasefire was achieved through U.S. mediation. India, however, has consistently denied any third-party role. According to New Delhi, the cessation of hostilities followed direct talks between the DGMOs of both nations. The confrontation began with Operation Sindoor on May 7, 2025, targeting terror infrastructure in Pakistan and Pakistan-occupied Kashmir in retaliation for the April 22nd Pahalgam attack. In fact, to speak more about this, we have Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, retired defense and strategy expert with us, as well as Major General Rajan Kochar, retired strategy and defense expert as well. Let us in fact go to Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni on this. Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, Operation Sindoor, of course, we knew was a very precision